Okay. Shavua Tov, Agut Evach, Pashat Tazria. Tazria Mitzorah or Tazria? Tazria Mitzorah. Oh, wow. Okay. We are on Daf Mem Gimel and Aleph on the top, 43a on the top. Just to remind you what is going on here. In the Mishnah, it said, you may not place a keli underneath a lamp to catch the oil, unless you did it on Erev Shabbat. That's fine. And then it said you're not allowed to have any pleasure because the shemen is muktzah. But we're going to now concentrate on the first half of the Mishnah, which is that you're not allowed to place a cup there on Shabbat. Why not? And we said that we're going to see two reasons. So far we saw one reason. That was Rav Chizda, the way that Rabbah explained Rav Chizda. Rav Chizda said that it's the same halacha with a chicken, that if it gives birth on a little slant, on a little slope, which is not normal for it to do, so then you cannot catch it in a keli. Why not? Can't catch the egg that it laid. Why not? Because you're moving an item litzorech for the need of davar of an item she'eno nital. Right? Ein davar nital, an item that's not muktzah, cannot be moved elo litzorech davar hanital, only for the needs of something that is able to be moved. We know that the egg that's laid on Shabbat and Yom Tov is muktzah, and therefore you're not allowed to catch, to move this and catch it, because this is muktzah for that. Okay? But if it laid the egg already, and it lays the egg in a place which is common for it to be stepped on like a garbage, so for that, according to Rabbah, that's Pshat Rav Chizda, that's already different. There they relax the Isser, since it's called, way Rashi learns, Hatzala Mitzuyah. It's a very common need for salvation. There they allowed you to move something even for the sake of something that's muktzah, since that's very common. The Gemara asked a few questions, the Gemara answered them. Now we're up to another question. On the top, right? We did the question with the sparks. Yeah. On the top. Eitvei. So they asked the kasha on this pshat. Kofin kara al haner shelo yochaz b'korah. The halacha is, the Mishnah later on in Shabbat, you're allowed to turn over a keli onto a light, not to put it out. It will still, but you're just scared that the fire is going to hit the roof. So you're allowed to put something on top of it, so it shouldn't catch fire. You're moving the cup for the purpose of the ner, which is muktzah. I thought you're not allowed to do that. And that's not a common occurrence. You say, well, that's very common. Things always burn. Houses always burn. Well, that's not so common. So therefore, if it's not so common, why are you allowed to do it? Now, obviously, we're not talking about... okay. Hold it there. Meaning, it's obviously not pikuach nefeshut. That's what I want to say. Okay? Because either they'll be able to get out of the house on time, either it burns, or we'll have a whole parak about that. Okay? Today, a fire in a home many times could be pikuach nefeshut. So maybe the halachas change. But we're going to have a whole parak about what you're allowed to do when the fire starts. And it's not going to be that you're allowed to put out the fire because you're saving lives. We'll see why then. Because it wasn't always about life saving. It was about saving your home, which really should be a problem. But we'll see that there's certain... Okay, we'll talk about it later. So the Gemara is asking that you see you're allowed to move even for the sake of muktzah. So the Gemara answers, we're talking about very, very low homes. In the low homes, actually, there were many fires. Because the electricity in those days was, that's how you turn the light every night, and it was a very low home. Many of them did catch fire. And therefore, the Chachamim allowed this. Next kasha, v'chein koresh nishber samchinota b'stavsal v'aruchot hamita. If you have a beam that broke, you're allowed to support it with a bench or with the legs of the bed. So the question is, how are you allowed to move this bench or the bed for the sake of the broken beam, which is muktzah? I thought ein keli nitel el letzorech davar nitel. Answers the Gemara, b'kshurei chadati de avidi de paki. B'kshuri means korah. Beams that are chadati, chadash. The taf and the shin are interchangeable. Chadshi, right? Chadati. The avidi de paki, which are normal for them to break. So it was a common occurrence again. And therefore, it's called hatzala mitzuyah. And here you have a heter. Okay, the Gemara asks now from another Mishnah, notnin keli tachat delef b'Shabbat. You're allowed to place a vessel to catch the drips in a helm on Shabbat. Now, I think that delef. Now, why is that delef muktzah? That drip is muktzah because it's probably dirty water, which you can't use. So you just don't want it to make a flood in your house. So you're moving the keli for the sake of something that is muktzah. How are you allowed to do that? So the Gemara answers, bebate chadati, the shchicha de dalfi. Because it was also very a common occurrence, and for common things that got ruined, the chachamim were mekel because it was a new home. New homes tend to have a lot of leaks, at least in those days. Maybe today it's the opposite when your roof gets old. Or maybe even today, when the roof just gets put on, they don't know if they did a good job. Has not proven and tested until it goes through a bunch of leaks and they figure out where all the places are. Anyways, that's the Gemara's teretz. Comes along Rav Yosef, and he says, Rav Yosef Amar Hainu Time with Rav Chizda. I'll tell you what Rav Chizda was talking about before. He was not speaking about this reason why he said that you're not allowed to move a keli to catch an egg is because of a different reason. And he said you're allowed to place a keli on top of an egg is not the way we explained it, the way Rabbi explained it, because really you're not allowed to move an item for the sake of a muktzah item, but you're allowed to place it on top because that story was by the garbage when people are going to step on it, so it's hasalam mitziyah. No, that's not the reason. Whole different reason. The reason is because mishum de kamevatel keli mehechano. You are now that you place the vessel underneath the muktzah item, so therefore it becomes a base, which in Lashon of the Gemara is called basis, l'davar ha'asur, to an item that is asur, to a muktzah item. So therefore it now serves the muktzah item, and it itself now is rendered muktzah. Okay, so what? So I'll make this muktzah. But right now it's not muktzah. I'm going to put it here. When the oil drips in, it'll be a problem. And all these, right? So the answer is, once you make that muktzah, so now you fixed it. And you nullified its usage anymore. Because now it is stuck here and it's like building. It's like you built it right over there. Okay, so therefore, you're not allowed to place a vessel under the egg because it becomes a basis to it. And it's done. Now, what about turning it over the egg? You're allowed. Why? Because it's not a basis. So it's not fixed there. You can always take it off. Put it on, take it off, use it for whatever you want. So therefore, that's the pshat in Rav Chisda. New pshat. Not that halacha that we said before of ein keli nitel el tzarich davar nitel. So the Gemara says, Eit ve'Abaye. Now Abaye goes and asks him almost all the questions that we asked on the other pshat, and we're going to go through all of them. They go quick. Eit ve'Abaye, chavit shel tevel shenishbira, maybe keli achim menech tachtel. If you have tevel, untithed wine or oil, that broke, you're allowed to bring another barrel to catch it. Why? That tevel is muktzah. Why is it muktzah? Because you can't fix it on Shabbos, so therefore it's asur to partake in it on Shabbos. So Shabbat, so therefore it's muktzah. And now you put another keli, so now it's going to be fixed under there and stuck there. So you mean mevatel keli mehechano from its usage. Amalei tevel muchanu etel Shabbat. Tevel is not called muktzah; it's called muchan, the opposite of muktzah. What? I thought you're not allowed to move tevel because you're not allowed to eat tevel, so it has no purpose. The Gemara says, you know why? Shem ava v'tiknei mutukan. Because if someone goes ahead and purposefully violates Shabbat, says, well, I'm going to fix it up. I'm taking off teruma, masrot. Wasn't allowed to. Midrabanan. There's an issur to do that on Shabbat. Okay? It's like makim patish. It's like fixing, even though it's not really. But midrabanan, it's close enough. They made it isur. But if you do it, it won't be muktzah anymore. It'll be a good piece of food. And you'll be allowed to partake in it. So Tosfos says it's only when you have no other fruits. That's the first pshat in Tosfos over here. So fine. So therefore the Gemara is saying like this. You're not really being mevatel keli mehechanei. Why? Because I go and catch it. Say, oh, now it's stuck. It's forever. The whole Shabbat. Not true. If someone, now you say, well, he's not allowed to. I know. But we don't consider it totally nullifying its purposes since it has a way out, technically. Not, it is prohibited that way out. But essentially, if it happens, so you don't know that this is going to be stuck here for the whole Shabbat. It's not for sure nullified. Let's say someone comes by and does it. He forgets, he doesn't know, he does it on purpose. So therefore, for this halacha of mevata keli mehechanai, which is midirabanan, they said as long as there is technically a way out, okay, other muktzahs, there's no way out. It's only here that you could that it's all of its muktzah properties emanate from its status of being asur to be eaten, which can technically be fixed if it is fixed. Okay, but let's say, for example, shemen that drips, oil that drips into a cup like our Mishnah. You can't say, if someone fixes the oil doesn't need to be fixed. This is going to be basis l'davar ha'asur. So for the rest of Shabbat, it's done. It's stuck there. Okay. So now the Gemara asks, Notnin kli tachat haneh l'kav nitzotzot. Amar Ravuna Brei Davishu nitzotzot en behen mamash. The Gemara is saying, how are you allowed to catch the sparks if you're now, the answer is that it doesn't become a basis to a davar asur. Because the sparks, when they're flying, they're muktzeh. But when they land, they don't exist anymore. So it's not, you're not being mevatel kli mehechanei. Weiter. Good? How are you allowed to support the broken beam with the bench or the bed? What now? You're not allowed to move that bench anymore the rest of Shabbat. So the answer is the rafi di boy shokale. It's loose, and if you want, you can take it. What does that mean? Because the Gemara thought that when you support it, you're like fixing the. What are these termites? You're fixing the what? What is that? Some of them are termites sometimes. You got to check it out. I've just seen by a different house also. Okay, they want to come to the shir. I think what the Gemara's answer is like this, that you're not sticking this in a way that it will be stuck there for the whole Shabbat. And it's holding in the beam. I think you just like lodge the beam in, and then like it's loose, you can really take it out. So once you fix the beam with that, it's not really a basis to it because it's not fixed into it. Something like that. It's like loose. And it really is, or he's speaking about the actual beam. Um, I think he's talking about the beam. Rashi's mashma. That
more,
yeah.
because it's a beam,
Yeah.
Ishbera,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to take it and use it for the kolah of the mitah, and whenever you need, you just take it back out. It's not something affixed there, right? The kolah of the mitah, what the mitah sits on, maybe you place it there so that something could be on the mitah, and then whenever you need it, you could always pull it out, so it's not affixed.
Let's get the case clear, then you tell me your teretz, because I want to hear what you're saying. You have a koira, right?
Okay.
It broke.
Exactly.
Now you want to support it back into its place with a bench or with the arucha tamita. So that's the case, right? So now, what was the problem? What was the Gemara's kasha? That if you say mevatel kli mehechonoi, so it'd be mevatel the arucha tamita or the safsal, the bench, which is not muktzah, but now it's stuck because it becomes a basis to the koira, which is muktzah. So the Gemara answers the rafi, it's loose. The iboy shakal that you can actually move it. What's loose? What's loose? The beam is loose. I'm thinking like this, that I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. I prepared this and I knew what the answer was then, but it's evading me now. So I think maybe the answer is that I think the answer is I don't know if this is the answer, but let me try to look it up. But let me try this. When you stick the bed in, the bed is not a basis, because it's not like, oh, without the bed you moved away the bed, it's going to fall, because you put it. You see Rashi v'chein kara, because tagadach shemahad kisham ve'enu yochel shuv litloi. Okay, I don't know the answer. Let's go weiter. Okay, I owe you an answer over here. I'm not clear on what the answer is. Okay, weiter. Noisen kli tachas hadelef b'Shabbos b'delef haroi. You're allowed to put a keli underneath the drip. Why? It's a basis now. So it's now mevatel kli mehechon. The answer is the drip is roi. You could drink it. We're talking about a good drip. So if it's a good drip, what's the chiddush of the Mishnah there? Mevatel, I mean, that you're allowed to catch water. What's the chiddush of the Mishnah? It's telling you that if it's okay, it's telling you like this. If it's not okay, you can't put it. But if it's okay, you could put it there. Let's go weiter. Koifin. We didn't have this one yet. This is a braiso. You're allowed to turn over a basket in front of the chicks that they should go up and down. Okay? Now, they were going to get their food like this. So why are you allowed to do that if you're going to be mevatel the kli mehechonoi? Because now the keli is going to become a basis to the chicks, and you won't be able to move it. So the Gemara says, no, because he holds you allowed to move it. The Gemara says, what do you mean he holds you allowed to move it? We have a brayso that says you're not allowed to move it. And if you're not allowed to move it, it's because it became a basis. If it became a basis, you mevatel the keli mehechonoi. So the Gemara says, ba'oiden olav. That price is only when they're on it, it becomes asur. When they're off it, mutter. When they're on it, so therefore you're not being mevatel the keli mechane. It's only when they're on it. So the Gemara says, We learned even if they're not on it, it's aser. It means like this. The Bryce is saying like this. Even if they're not on it, they're aser if they were on it during the whole Ben Hashmashos. Ben Hashmashos, there's a rule according to Rabbi Yehuda, migu, this is one very, very famous rule, so this is very important over here, everybody. Migu di iskatzoi, the Ben Hashmashot, because of the fact that it became muktzeh at the time of Ben Hashmashot, which means at the onset of Shabbat, it katzoi l'kuli yoma. It's now muktzeh for the rest of the day. Okay? So it means like this. The Braita that said that it's also to be moved, okay, is talking about when it already became muktzeh at the beginning of the onset of Shabbat, so now it's muktzeh for the rest of Shabbat. But in the middle of Shabbat, if you come and it wasn't made asur when Shabbat started, it was muchan, therefore it's only going to be asur while they're on it. But when they're off it, you can move it, and therefore it's not mevatel kli mehechanor. Rabbi Yitzchak. Now, Rabbi Yitzchak is going to say almost exactly like Rabba's explanation of Chizda, the ein keli nitel el tzorich davar nitel, but with one exception, that you don't have this exception. It's not he's actually going without the exception. The first way of Chizda was you have an exception. If it's Hatzolah Mitzuya, and it's very common occurrence that these things get ruined, the Chacham said you can move something for. Rabbi Yitzchak says you can't. Omer Rav Yitzchak, Kishem she'en notnin kli tachat tarnagol lekabel beitzata, because on a slope to catch it, you're moving it for a davar muktzah, which is not a common occurrence, and that's asur. Just like that's asur. Kach ein kofin alei kli b'shir shelo tishaver. The opposite of Chizda. The second halach is also asur. You're not allowed to put it a keli on top of it so people shouldn't walk on it, even though that's a very common occurrence. Asur. Because tavar ein keli nitel el davar nitel b'Shabbos. He holds an ein keli is nitel el davar nitel b'Shabbat without any exceptions. Meitvei kol hani tiyufta. So now the Gemara asks all of these kashas, like we asked them before. Now, what was the answers for Rabbah all the time on the first kashas? Oh, this is common. This is a new house, a new this. It's very common. You can't do that for Rabbi Yitzchak. Can't answer that. He holds no exceptions. So we're going to answer. The Shani, so he answered b'tzorech l'mkoymoi. The answer to all these questions are that, you know why I'm moving it? You say, I'm not allowed to move this cup to catch this thing. You're not allowed to move the cup to put it over the nair so it shouldn't burn. You're not allowed to put the bench to catch the thing because you're moving an item. The answer is, but I'm allowed to move a muktzah item. You might have heard of the concept before, and we're going to learn about it later on, Be'ezrat Hashem, with all of its details, but this Gemara is saying that for the sake, let's say I needed this spot right over here. I wanted to put a plate here. I wanted to eat here. So now, even though there's muktzah, right? Even if this would be muktzah, I would be allowed to move it. So, because I need the spot on certain muktzah. So now that I'm allowed to move it for the makom, so I could already put it where I want. I could put it over the nair. Meaning, we're talking about cases where he was allowed. Now what about this Mishnah? This Mishnah doesn't allow you to put. The answer is, this Mishnah wasn't that you needed. So Tosfos says, so why are you doing some Mishnahs that wasn't needed? So Tosfos says that the first one is this Mishnah, tell you that you're not allowed to. And then there's other Mishnahs that tell you that, but if you needed l'tzarech mekaymai, then you're allowed to do it. And he gave different examples. Fine. Toshima. Okay, let's bring a proof. Whether an egg was laid on Shabbat or laid on Yom Tov, you may not move the egg, not to cover a keli, which they used eggs to do that sometimes. They didn't have caps and bottle covers, right? Caps. So they used eggs sometimes. And you're not allowed to use it to support the bed, the feet of the bed, the legs of the bed, which was a common occurrence. You're not allowed to move it, it's muktzah. But you're allowed to put a keli on top of it so that it shouldn't break. You're not allowed to move an item, according to Rav Yitzchak. And don't tell me, but it's a common occurrence because he doesn't go for that exception. Answer is, talking about when you needed the place, so you're able to move it. You're allowed to spread mats over stones so that the stones don't get rubbed out from the rain or some other damage that might happen to these nice stones that you want to use for building. So, one second. The stones are muktzah. You're moving the mats for the stones. What are you doing? You're not allowed to move an item that's not muktzah for the sake of the item that's muktzah. And since the Gemara be'avonim mekuzolos techazin lebeis hakisei, we're talking about stones that have nice fine edges, which were fit to be used in the bathroom. That's what they used in those days. Okay? So, there's a good tip now for this corona. If you run out of the toilet paper over here, you get avonim mekuzolos. Okay? Start a new business online. You make millions over there. Avonim mekuzolos. Okay? So now, Toshima. So that's the Gemara's teretz. What's teretz? Teretz is that the item is not muktzah. You're not moving the machzolos for avonim that are muktzah, just stones. These are stones that have purpose on Shabbos as well. Toshima. Porsim machzolos al gabi. Levenim b'Shabbos. You're allowed to spread mats over bricks on Shabbat. Now, bricks are muktzah. Why are you allowed to do it? You're moving a non-muktzah item for the sake of a muktzah item. Answers the Gemara, the ishtayu mibinyana dechazin lemizga alayu. They were leftovers from the building. So now they're fitting to lean on them. Rashi actually, the last Rashi on the page, he says, the way that they used to do, they would sit a little bit and lean a little bit to their left. So they used these leftover bricks for things even on Shabbat. Therefore they're not muktzah. Therefore you could spread things on them. Toshima, the next case we're going to speak about for a little while, all the way into halfway into the next page. So pay attention to the next case. It's not a hard case. You're allowed to spread mats on kaveres, on top of a beehive of devorim, b'Shabbat. Now, what are you trying to do? You're trying to protect the honey. B'chama mipnei hachama. The simple pshat in the Gemara is in the summer months, because of the sun. Uvikshamim in the winter, when there's rainy season, mipnei hageshamim, because of the rain. The sun will damage the honey, and so will the rain. Uvilvachi lo yischavin lotzut. As long as you don't have kavanah to trap the bees inside the beehive. Because that would be an isser of tzad on Shabbat. So now, the isser tzad, but what is it trying to tell you? Okay, fine. So I don't have kavanah for tzad, so I'm not going to be over on tzad. Tzad means to trap. But, what's the main point here? That you're allowed to move an item for this. Wait, now, says the Gemara, these are bees. These are muktzah. So it's muktzah item. You're moving mats over it. So the Gemara says, that's how you allowed to move it. So the Gemara says, there's honey in there. There's honey inside. So if it's honey, it's not muktzah. So what's the issue? The issue is the trapping. So it says, don't worry about it. If there's honey, you can move it. Just don't have kavanah to trap. It's nice for the summer months, this honey. In the winter, what are you going to say? So the Gemara says, now that there's no honey, you're moving the machzelos for just a beehive with bees, which is muktzah. So you're not going to move something that's not muktzah for the sake of something that's muktzah. So the Gemara says, even in the winter, they always would leave 2 honeycombs inside so that the bees could feed off it in the winter, so that they stay healthy and they produce in the summer. And they make new beehives and honeycombs from the pollen in the spring and the summer. So there was always 2 left over. By the way, this is not only that. If I buy, the halacha is, Rashi brings down, if you buy, it's Gemara in Bava Batra, if I buy all the honeycombs in that hive, so you have to leave 2 behind. So the Gemara says that's why even in the winter you're moving an item for the sake of something that's not muktzah. Why is it not muktzah? Because it's always honey. So the Gemara says, what do you mean? It's very nice, but you're not going to move it. You're not touching that honey. They're set aside for the bees. So you're back to square one. Who cares if there's honey? It's got to be honey that is edible, that you can move, but you don't touch that honey. You leave it for the bees. So the Gemara says the choshev alayu. No, we're talking about a case where you actually decided that you want to eat a little of that honey before Shabbat. You thought that. So therefore, it's not muktzah. So the Gemara says, "Haloi chashav alayim mai aser." But if you didn't think about it, so then it's really muktzah, because they're really the 2 chalot, which are the honeycombs, that are designated for the bees, and then it's muktzah, and therefore you're not allowed to move an item for the sake of something muktzah. So then there's a whole muktzah issue going on right here. And the only reason, the way you're getting out of the muktzah issue is what? Is by thinking. So why did the Mishnah, the Brisa, ignore the main topic, which is moving the mats, and not speak about the details there? This is the way Rashi explains it in Beitza, the following kasha. And only speak about one little detail. As long as you don't do trapping, as long as you don't have in mind trapping. It should have, since it's so iffy, it's so dependent and contingent on different details, it should have said as follows. Liflog v'litni b'dida. It should have differentiated in the halachas of moving the mat itself, in the muktzah issue, not in the trapping issue, in the muktzah issue. That's only if you thought about them. But if you didn't think about them, it's asur. The Mishnah should have spoken out halachas of muktzah. So the Gemara says, "Hakamash v'lan." No, we wanted to teach you, even if you took care of the muktzah issue, it wanted to tell you you're not done yet. That was the point. You're not allowed to do it unless you don't have in mind to trap, otherwise it's a problem. So the Gemara now gets into that, to the end of the Mishnah. Right. Mani. Okay, let me just recap it for a second, okay? So we have like this. We have, you're allowed to move the mats for the honeycombs, even in the winter, because they're a chalot that I thought about, that I want to eat. So they're not muktzah, as long as I don't want to trap. So the Gemara says, who is this like? Reb Shimon let le muktzah. He doesn't hold of muktzah. Remember, I told you this, that Reb Shimon doesn't hold of muktzah. He only holds of some muktzahs, but not this muktzah. The some muktzahs that he holds of are the ones that we have a problem with. But this wouldn't be a muktzah. Okay? So you tell me, okay, no. It's Rabbi Yehuda that has a broader concept of muktzah, and he holds that even though it's honey, but since it's mainly designated for the bees, in order to make it not muktzah, you have to think about it before Shabbat. The Gemara says, so this bright is Rabbi Yehuda? The problem is, if it's Rabbi Yehuda, kilo mitchaven mayhave, hadav she'em mitchaven asur. So then why does it say, as long as you don't have in mind, in kavanah, intention, to trap, you're okay. Rabbi Yehuda has a problem, even by davar she'em mitchaven. You're not allowed to do malacha, even if the result will result in something. But that wasn't my main purpose here. I wasn't trying to trap bees. I was trying to protect my honey. I don't care, honey, what your intention was. If you're going to end up trapping, you're not allowed to do it. So the Gemara says, "Lo olam Rabbi Yehuda." It's Rabbi Yehuda. Ma'yu v'vad shelo yitchaven latzud shelo yasena kimtzuda d'shbok lehu ravcha ki hechda lo litzadu memela. He's saying like this. You have to make sure, it doesn't mean don't have intention. Intention, not intention, doesn't matter what your intention is according to Rabbi Yehuda on Shabbat, it's a problem. What he means is, make sure you don't. Don't do it in a way that showed that you are trying to cover the whole thing. You have to leave open a large area so that they don't get trapped automatically. Now, because if they do, then even though wasn't your purpose, but according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's still a problem anyways. Now you may ask, wait, and according to Rabbi Shimon, that's okay? had you covered the whole thing, it's psik ratio. Even a Shimon that says that if you don't have intention, it's okay on Shabbat. That's only when it's not inevitable. But if you, according to Shimon, you also have to leave over some space for them to get out. So the Ramban says the answer is like this. According to Shimon, you only have to leave a little space. Because now it's not inevitable. So even if some of them are dumb enough to get trapped, and they just get trapped, and they just don't figure it out, you didn't have intention to trap, and it's not inevitable. So what's it called again? You should wipe your hands. So therefore it's fine. But the Gemara is saying, means, according to Rabbi Yehuda, you can't leave open this much. You gotta leave open this much. So because according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's gotta be so because according to Rabbi Yehuda, if they get trapped at the end of the day, then even though you didn't have in mind, you still were over. So you have to do it in a way that's it's entirely not a trap at all. They're free to go. And even one that's sitting over here, he's not trapped. He's just like, that's where he wants to be. But there's no trap here at all. That's what it's saying over here. Okay? Rav Ashi has a very simple answer. You don't have to get stuck in all this honey over here. Rav Ashi Omer. Does it say in the days of sun, the days of the rain? That means the summer months and the winter months. It said in the sun, because of the sun, and when there are seasons that have honey, not the two chalot for the winter for the Devarim. Honey for you. When is that? Yoimei Nisan of Yoimei Tishrei. Okay, the days of Nisan right now, the days of Tishrei, the Ika Chama, the Ika Kshamim, the Ika Dvash. Everything's great. There's sun, there's rain, and there's honey. So it's not nitel l'tzorich dover she'ein nitel because there's honey in there. Ulevad shelo yechavein lotzud. As long as you don't have it in mind. And that can be Rav Shimon now. Amalu Rav Sheshet pukav amalei Rabbi Yitzchak. Go out and tell Rav Yitzchak that Kvar Tigim Rav Huna l'shmaitach bevavel. Rav Huna already explained, you're saying, what's you're saying? That a keli can't be moved only for something that's movable. In Bavel, the Omer Rav Huna, because you want to know how do we know that Rav Huna said this? From what Rav Huna said, we'll be able to tell that that's what he was saying. He said like this: Osin michitza lemet b'shvil chai. You have a dead man, and you're worried that he's going to rot in the sun. He's lying in the sun. So you let him make a mechitza for him, a partition, if you do it for the purpose of a live man. But you cannot do it for the purpose of a met, for him himself. Why not? Because of this issue. Because if you make a mechitza for the mate is muktzah, because he has no purpose to move him. You don't get anything out of a mate. You can't use a mate for anything, and therefore he's muktzah. Therefore, you can't make a mechitza to move a mechitza for his. So you have to do it for a chai. And then, now, could you do it like in a tricky way, like who you're fooling? Yes, you could. Why? Because of the honor for the mace. But you have to do it first for a chai, and that's the halacha of Rav Yitzchak. That ein kli nitel elel tzarich davar nitel. So the Gemara says, Mahi. The ein osim mechitza l'meis of shul meis, but not for the meis. What is this? How do you do it? The Omer Reb Shmuel bar Yehuda v'chein tana Shila Mari. Reb Shmuel bar Yehuda said, and so taught Shila Mari. Meta mutal b'chama ba'im shnei b'nei Adam. Okay, now. You have to do it in a very, very non-conspicuous fashion. You have to really do it for the sake of man. And the Chachamim were worried that you'll see how many things they have to do over here. Okay, so you have a met who's lying in the sun. Ba'im shnei b'nei Adam. Two people come. Now, really, what do we? I'll give you a little intro. What do you really want to get to? You want to have two beds standing up like this on their sides with a nice cover over it. That would protect, that would make shade for the sun and it won't rot. But you can't do that because that's b'shvil amet. So how do you do that b'shvil achai? So what you do is like this. You have two people, they come, they sit down next to the mate. After a while, they're sitting down. The bottom of their body is getting very hot. They say, I'm too hot. Each one brings a bed to sit on. Now, they can't bring beds right away to sit on. The Chacham made them go out of the way to make it look mamash that they did it for only after they got hot. Now, but they still need the cover. Then they sit on it. They wait until it gets so hot on their heads. That takes longer because they're not sitting on the asphalt, on the pavement that was hot. It's, getting sunburned. Oh, now it's really hot over here. I'm starting to sweat. They bring a mat, and they spread it over them like this, and they're holding it. Then they get tired. And they said, listen, I can't hold this for so long. Now, they can't, right? So now they turn over the beds so that they can have a nice canopy. And after they make it for themselves, because they're hot, and they got tired, the hands, now they could just slip away. Okay, that's how much the Chacham made them work. So because of Ein Keli, Nitel, El Tzorich, Davra Nitel. So they made, okay? Itma, Meita Mutal B'chama. We're going to see other heterim that the Chacham gave to move. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Hoifchem Yimitim Lemita. The only way to move him is from one bed to another bed. Rav Chanina Bar Shlami Mishmei de Rav Omar, he says the name of Rav, not like Shmuel. Meniach alav kikarei tinik u'metatlei. You put a loaf of bread or a child on the mace, and you move him because now he becomes he's like serving, he's like a plate for the thing that is usable, for the bread or for the child. Now, normally you don't have this heter. It's only by a met. Can't do that. Every time you have muktzah, you put something on it that's not muktzah. Only for a met, because of kavod amet, because he's going to rat there. So, the Gemara says like this. When there is a loaf of bread or a child, everybody agrees that it's okay. Ki pligi. When do they argue the letle? It's very hard for you to find something that is not muktzah. You're outside in the field, you don't have something. Then marsav tiltul minatzat shmei tiltul. One holds moving a muktzah item from the side, which means not itself, but rather with a bed. The mate is on a bed. I move it from one bed to the other, so I'm not moving directly the mate with my hands. It's through something else. That's okay. Umarsav lo shmei tiltul. You can't do it. Too bad. Oh, sorry. Marasav shmei tiltul, too bad, because that's called moving muktzah. Marasav lo shmei tiltul, it's not called moving, it's not a problem. So the Gemara says like this: Lema ketanoi. Let us say that Nachlekas Rav and Shmuel, if tiltul min atzad is mutter, is already Machlekes Tanoim. So why would they argue about it? It says Ein matzilin et hamet mipnei adleika. You're not allowed to save a dead person from a fire. He's going to get totally burnt, the dead person. Amar Rav Yehuda ben Lakish. I heard that you could. Hey Chidam, he says, well, what's the case here? My time with the Tanakama. You said everyone agrees that if there's a kikar etinak, that it's mutter. So why would you say you can't? Either leka, my time with Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish. And if there isn't, then why would you say that you're allowed to save a mace from a fire? Let the fire come and burn it. Very unfortunate, but it's muktzah, it's an issa d'Rabbanan. So why would you elalav b'tiltul min atzatli? You must be there arguing. Are you allowed to move the mate because of his honor from the fire through one bed to the next? The marasav b'tiltul min atzat shmei tiltul. It's muktzah. It's aser. Marasav lo shmei tiltul. That's not called moving. That's not a problem in muktzah. So the Gemara says, "Lay, That's not, so this is a kasha. Why is it a kasha? Because if this is the only way to explain the machloket Tanaim, then it comes out that this machloket to Rav and Shmuel was already a machloket Tanaim. Why would they have to argue about it? That's a very common kasha, right? So the Gemara says, la. The kuli alma tiltum atzad shmei tiltum. You could say that everyone holds shmei tiltul. The Ainu time of Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish, and the reason for Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish says that you're allowed to move it is the mitoch she'odem bo olam meto ilo shoret le'asur lichpuyeh. There's a special heter when it comes to a fire, that if the person knows he's going to lose his loved one that's not alive anymore in a fire, he will put out the fire. Now, he won't be over on an Issa D'Oraita, the Rishonim say, because it's she'enet tzarech legufay. If you remember, Malacha she'enet tzarech legufo, it's not really being done for the sake of putting out the fire, because you want to save the wick or anything. Just that you don't want to burn something else, so that's for a purpose of something else, which is not an Issa D'Oraita, it's an Issa D'Rabanan. But they treated that Issa D'Rabbanan very harshly, very strictly, because it's very close to the Issa D'Oraita. It's doing the same action. It's just a Melech She'ein Tzrich L'Gufa, and therefore they didn't want a person to come to do that Issa D'Rabbanan. So therefore they relaxed the Issa of Muktzah on a mate. That's why. Amr Rabbi Yehuda ben Shila, Amr Rabbi Asi, Amr Rabbi Yochanan, Halacha Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish b'meis. The halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda ben Lakish b'meis, that for the honor of the mace, you're allowed to move him. Now we just finished the last line. In the Mishnah said, you're not allowed to enjoy the oil because it's muktzah. The leftovers of the shemen after it goes out in the lamp or in the plate is asur. The Rabbi Shimon matir. Rabbi Shimon says it's mutar because he doesn't hold of the halacha of migud iskatsoi. Right now you have oil, and it's not part of a fire. The fire went out already, so why can I use it? So you're going to say because it was already became muktzeh at the beginning of Shabbat. That's Rabbi Yehuda shita. Rabbi Shimon argues with that whole shita, therefore he holds it's mutar. Tomorrow morning, Bezat Hashem at 7:15. This week, Bezat Hashem at 7:15. Have a great week. Stay well. Refuah to all those who need it.